On air, online, and on your mobile. Follow at Reprezent Radio across all socials.
Yes, yes. So once again, you are locked into the sounds of Paleblu on Reprezent Radio, 107.3 FM. Joining me in the studio right now is a guy I've wanted to have on my show for a very long time. He goes by the name of Highlander. Connor, say hello, mate.
Yo, what's going on?
How's it going, man? Good to have you here.
Oh, thanks for having me, man. It's my first time. It's a pleasure.
Yeah. I mean, you're no stranger to radio, though, are you?
Nah. I've been here for a while.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like 5 years on Subtle, coming up for 6 years on Subtle.
Nice.
I've done Mode, Arja. A lot of them really.
Few bits.
Yeah,
nice. Well, yeah, thanks for coming down. It's good to know it's your first time. You won't forget it then.
Yeah. Well, it's my first time actually on FM radio as well.
Oh, really?
So the other ones have been pirate or just online based.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Nice to be in some people's cars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, man. Let's get straight to it. So you've obviously been in the scene for a little while now. And you run a record label called Reprezent. So let's kind of talk about you growing up and your first experiences with dance music. What would you say your first kind of experiences were that made you get into wanting to be involved with music and releasing music and starting a label and get to the point that you're at right now?
So I think like in terms of like dance music, it was I first got into like grime and dubstep back in secondary school when my boy's older cousin burned us a CD with like all these different tunes on it, and I remember the first one was like some Whittler tune. I remember listening to it with my boy, just like, yo, this is crazy, what is this? Because like before that point I just kind of listened to like rap and hip hop and like some UK hip hop and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So then when I heard this like aggressive like kind of other side to it like stuff, I was like, wow, this is crazy, I'm gonna explore this sort of thing.
Yeah.
So yeah, just kind of like went on YouTube, found more stuff, and then I remember like going to a few like squat parties with my boy Billy, because we was only like 16 at this time, so we couldn't get into no clubs or nothing. But yeah, I think like first time proper raving out like legally, and that was dubstep raves, going Screamism, DMZ,
sick,
all of that sort of stuff. And then from there, I just kind of like
guess that's like dubstep's heyday as well, to be honest.
Yeah. So I like this was like late. No, this was like 2011, 2012 when I first started getting into like proper, because I turned 18 in 2012. So
yeah,
that's when I could properly start going out and doing things like going proper raves and experiencing it properly.
Yeah.
And I think that's when I started to like appreciate like actually DJing as like a thing more than like I used to just go out to the party, and if there was music playing I was happy. But like when I started going to these proper raves, I started like appreciating DJing as a craft, and it was like, right, I want to get into that somehow. And then from that, like having a label has always just been like on my list of things that I want to kind of do with my life at some point.
Yeah.
I also want to build a sound system, so that's on there as well. But the label was kind of just, I was sitting around during lockdown just with like nothing to do, and I was thinking, it's kind of now or never really. I've got all this free time, I might as well pour it into something that I've wanted to do. So by this point, I'd kind of transitioned from dubstep and grime more into like jungle, faster breakbeat sort of stuff. I'd always like that sort of stuff and listen to it growing up.
Yeah.
I remember my dad used to like play loads of like N-trance and stuff like that in the car when he would take me to school and stuff. So I always kind of knew about the old 90s rave stuff, but I never really kind of explored it too deep. But then I've kind of transitioned into this now. So when I decided to form Racked, it was like, I'm gonna do what I'm passionate about at the minute. So yeah, that's why I decided to go towards like the more breakbeaty, ravey sort of side of things rather than the dubstep where I started off, you know.
Yeah, it's interesting to see that, you know, I always find that people's journeys like originally will start off going to squat parties, or like it's either going to squat parties or like their older sibling or something, or like video games.
It's always one connection.
Yeah, exactly. So it's cool to hear that. I mean, let's talk about Rack. So you've been going, it's coming into its third year now, pretty much, right?
Yeah, so I kind of formulated the idea and got all the like branding and stuff sorted like late 2020, but like officially launched 2021 with the first release from Disdained. The Altered Breaks EP, two like proper kind of futuristic jungle DMB hybrid sort of tunes. big up Prince, Disdained, wicked producer. Like, really nice to work with him on that. And yeah, that was kind of just like that.
He's also a chef as well, right?
Yeah, bad boy chef, and like if you see on his Instagram, he's like a hunter gatherer. Not a hunter, he's more like a gatherer. He goes out and he's collecting mad mushrooms and berries and stuff in the forest. Like, he's a G. Nice. I love him so much. Like, yeah, and he's got some wicked tunes out on Mind as well. Like, definitely worth checking out. But he kind of set pace for the label for me. Just kind of what I wanted to kind of do with the label in terms of. I didn't really want it to just be like, right, this is a jungle label, this is this label, you know what I mean? I want it to just be like, right, a bit of everything, and that's kind of what he kind of managed to encapsulate with them tunes, which was a good starting point. And then from there, it kind of gave me the freedom to explore different avenues, so I'm not just kind of like constrained to one sort of sound, you know, because that's not really me. Like, I listen to everything, like all sorts of types of music. Even just like not really electronic stuff as well. So for me, I want the label to be like a representation of like my record collection, you know? Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, speaking of records, I know you've got like quite a big collection. It's also like an important thing to emphasize that Racked is like a vinyl label as well.
Yeah. So like I was a collector before anything else.
Yeah.
I've been collecting like 10 years now, maybe.
Nice.
Collection's built up. It's massive now. Yeah. It's massive. But yeah, so for me, I wanted to do it on vinyl, and vinyl is what I push. Like, I still do the digital side of things, but I don't really get as much kind of joy out of that sort of side of it. I like to be able to get the physical product and hold it in my hands, and I like to, if you see them, it's like they're full colour with the artwork insert and everything. I like to do everything properly, so it's like a collector's piece, you know, something you'd want to put on your wall or get out and show your mates, you know what I mean? Yeah. Something like that. Yeah.
Do you think that, I mean, a lot of labels aren't starting off with vinyl? It's something that they'll do further down the line. Do you think like you've taken the right risk by starting off straight away and been like, okay, we're a vinyl label?
Yeah, so I know a few my friends, 40 Grit, they'd done like a massive free download series before they'd done their first physical release, and I think that was like a really good way to do it. And like, maybe looking back, if I was doing it as a money making project, then maybe I would have like kind of done things a little bit differently. But for me, like, I still work 9 to 5, so I'm lucky enough that I can support myself and support the label. Sick. And I can take them sort of risks financially and put it into the vinyl, which everyone knows it's mad expensive. Yeah. And for like independent labels, pressing up 300 records is tough. Like, but luckily, like I said, I'm able to support that. So for me, I was like, right, I want to do it. I'm just going to do it properly. Like, I don't mind taking a risk on these artists because I'm just going to do it, you know? Yeah. It's
a very, like, courageous and bold thing to do when you're starting a label.
Yeah, to be like, as well, like, I want to kind of put newer artists on as well. So, I mean, I'm probably doing everything backwards, to be honest. If you speak to, like, proper label owners, and I'm taking risk on, like, new producers. But I want to give these people their first vinyl release.
Physical
like,
product,
the latest one from Tentacle, that's his first vinyl release. Samurai Breaks one, the one before that, 002. That was his first solo vinyl release. Yeah. The next one I got coming up, that's their first solo vinyl release. So I want to put these people on because I believe in them. I think they're sick. So I feel like the world should hear it, you know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah.
Speaking of which, the next release, can we talk about that at all?
Yeah. So I announced it on my radio show. So if anyone listens to that, you would have heard it. And it's off an artist called Eminence. I think she's based in Bristol at the minute. Wicked producer. Got loads of tunes off her, but these two I've had for a while now. Obviously with pressing times, it's mad taking ages for it to come, but it finally came before Christmas. So just getting the final bit started for that, but that one, the release was like a proper tear out, Amen, Dark Side sort of thing. But this one's bit more happy hardcore sort of leaning. A bit of a switch up, but I'm proper buzzing to get this one out.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I liked about the releases, because you've sent me the discography and I've played some of the music on my show and stuff, is that no one release is the same, but I do feel like it does have that kind of rave spirit to it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
That's
good to hear. That's what I'm trying to achieve. You know, like it's hard to kind of, do you know, some labels you can hear a tune and be like, that's a that belongs on that label.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it's just like it kind of fits with it, but it's hard to kind of get that like racked sound almost, because if like the first 3 releases are so wildly different from each other, so it's hard to kind of get that. But if I can just kind of encapsulate just that, like you said, that rave sound, then that's all I'm trying to do really.
So when is the next release out? Can people pre-order it right now?
Nah, no pre-orders yet. Probably be coming out maybe end of Feb.
Cool.
I'm just waiting on a couple of bits of artwork to get finished, to get printed, and then put it all together, and then get it out to the shops and up on the Bandcamp, and then 005 shortly after that, which I'm hyped for.
Sick.
Yeah, man.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, you're about to drop a guest mix for us. What can we expect to hear in the mix?
So I've actually put together 100% Racked Records material, mostly forthcoming.
Yeah.
I think there's maybe 20 tracks in total. I might squeeze in a few others, but mostly Racked Records tunes. A few unheard bits, few world premieres. Should
Banging.
be good.
Well, thank you so much for coming down, Connor.
Thanks for having me down, man.
We're going to step straight into it. This is a Highlander guest mix on Reprezent Radio.
Reprezent guest